The rain hammered Seattle's sidewalks like a relentless accusation, turning the neon glow of the coffee shop window into a smeared watercolor of regret. Alex Rivera wiped steam from the espresso machine, his hands steady despite the storm outside mirroring the one brewing in his chest. Another night alone in this cramped haven called Brew Haven, where secrets spilled easier than lattes. Then the door flew open with a chime that cut through the jazz hum, and a small boy, no older than 8, stumbled in, soaked to the bone, his wide eyes locking onto Alex like he was the last lighthouse in a shipwrecked world. "Help!" the kid gasped, clutching a soggy backpack like a shield, his voice a fragile thread against the thunder. "They're coming. My dad. He doesn't know I'm here." Alex's heart slammed against his ribs. He'd seen fear before. Hell, he'd lived it. But this was raw, unfiltered terror in a child's face, the kind that demanded action without questions. Dropping the rag, he vaulted the counter, pulling the boy into the warmth of the back room, the door slamming shut just as headlights sliced through the downpour outside. Who was this kid, and what shadows chased him through the night? Alex didn't know yet, but in that instant, as he wrapped a towel around the shivering shoulders, he felt the weight of a story crashing into his life, one that would unravel everything he thought he understood about family, love, and the walls men build to hide their truths. Alex knelt to the boy's level, his voice low and steady, the barista calm he'd honed from diffusing drunk college kids at closing time. "Hey, buddy, breathe with me. In, out. You're safe here. What's your name?" The child hesitated, water dripping from his dark curls, eyes darting to the window where rain blurred the world beyond. "Liam," he whispered finally, as if saying it aloud might summon the monsters. "My dad's gonna kill me. I ran because he found out about the picture." Alex's brow furrowed, but he kept his touch light, guiding Liam to a stool by the pastry case. The shop was empty, save for the hum of the fridge and the patter of rain. A small mercy on a Tuesday night. "Picture? Like a drawing?" Liam shook his head, unzipping the backpack with trembling fingers. Inside, crumpled but defiant, was a sketch. 2 boys holding hands under a rainbow flag, stick figures but bold with color. "It's me and my friend Tyler. We drew it at school for art. Dad saw it in my bag. He yelled, said it's wrong, that I'm wrong." The word hung heavy, like the steam from a fresh pour-over. Alex's throat tightened. He'd heard that venom before, spat from his own father's lips when he came out at 17, fresh-faced and foolish in their cramped Queens apartment. "You're not wrong, Liam. Not even close." He slid over a hot chocolate, marshmallows bobbing like tiny lifelines. "Art's supposed to be honest. Who's your dad? Maybe I can call him, explain." Liam's face crumpled. "Richard Hale. You know him? He's important. CEO guy? Hates stuff like this." Alex froze, the mug nearly slipping from his grip. Richard Hale? The Richard Hale? Tech mogul, face on Forbes, the billionaire whose apps tracked half the world's schedules but apparently couldn't track his own son's heart. The man who donated millions to family values campaigns, the ones that whispered poison about people like Alex. "Yeah," Alex murmured, forcing a smile. "I've heard the name. But listen, heroes aren't always in suits. Sometimes they're in aprons." Headlights flooded the shop again, brighter this time, tires screeching to a halt on the wet curb. A sleek black SUV, the kind that screamed money and menace. The door burst open, and there he was, Richard Hale, drenched overcoat flapping like a cape of fury, his sharp jaw set in granite lines, eyes scanning like lasers. "Liam!" The roar echoed off the exposed brick walls, but the boy shrank behind Alex, tiny hands fisting the apron strings. Hale's gaze snapped to Alex, assessing in that predatory boardroom way. Mid-20s, lean build from morning runs along the waterfront, faded jeans, and a Brew Haven tee clinging to his frame. "You. Where's my son?" Alex stood tall, blocking the path, his voice even but edged with steel. "He's here safe, and he's not going anywhere until he says so." The air crackled, 2 worlds colliding in the scent of roasted beans and ozone. Hale stepped closer, towering, his cologne cutting through the rain. Expensive, invasive. "This isn't your business, kid. Move." But Alex didn't. Not when Liam whimpered, not when those green eyes, mirror of his own, pleaded from the shadows. It is now, he said, chin lifting. Because terror doesn't look good on anyone, Mr. Hale. Especially not on a kid who just wanted to draw his truth. Richard Hale's world had always been a fortress of control. Boardrooms conquered, deals sealed before dawn. A penthouse view of Puget Sound that mocked the chaos below. But tonight, that fortress cracked with the slam of a coffee shop door, his son's backpack abandoned on the leather seat like a betrayal. Liam, the bright spark who'd once built Lego empires at his knee, had bolted after one shouted word too many. Wrong. It had slipped out, hot and unbidden, when Richard found the drawing, that garish rainbow slashing across his vision like a verdict. He'd chased the storm-slick streets, GPS pinging from Liam's watch, fury masking the gnaw of something deeper, guilt, perhaps, or the echo of his own buried screams from a youth spent in Texas closets. Now, facing this insolent barista, Richard felt exposed, the rain dripping from his hair like accusations. You have no idea who you're dealing with, he growled, but the words tasted hollow, his eyes flicking past to the boy peeking out, towel clutched like armor. Alex crossed his arms, the counter a flimsy Maginot line. I know enough. Kid's scared witless because his dad's got a problem with rainbows. That's not power, Mr. Hale. That's just sad. The billionaire's laugh was bitter, a bark without mirth. Sad? You think you can lecture me on parenting from behind a latte machine? But Liam's voice pierced the standoff, small but steel-edged. Dad, stop. Alex gets it. He said I'm brave. Brave. The word lodged in Richard's chest like shrapnel. His son, looking at this stranger with trust Richard hadn't earned in months. Nights of mergers eclipsing bedtime stories. He reached out, hand hovering, but Liam flinched, and the flinch was a gut punch. Son, let's go home. We can talk. Alex interjected softly. Talk? Or yell? Because from where I'm standing, words like wrong don't build bridges. The shop's bell tinkled, a late customer, oblivious, ordering a drip coffee to go. Richard straightened, facade slipping back like a well-oiled vault. This isn't over, he muttered, but his eyes lingered on Alex, a flicker of something unreadable. Gratitude? Resentment? He turned to Liam, voice softening to a plea. Please, buddy. After a beat, the boy nodded, sliding off the stool, but not before hugging Alex fiercely. Thanks, Liam whispered. For the cocoa. And believing. As father and son stepped into the rain, Richard paused at the door, glancing back. What's your name? Alex met his gaze, unflinching. Alex. Just Alex. The door swung shut, but the echo lingered, a challenge unmet. Back at the counter, Alex exhaled, the adrenaline crash leaving him hollow. Little did he know that just was the spark that would ignite a firestorm, drawing him into the Hale's gilded cage where pride wasn't just a sin, it was a prison. Days blurred into a cautious rhythm after the storm. Alex threw himself into shifts, the grind of beans a bomb against the what-ifs. Liam's drawing haunted him, tucked now in his locker like a talisman, its colors a quiet rebellion. Customers chattered about the weather, oblivious to the seismic shift in Alex's quiet life, until the bell chimed mid-rush on Friday, and there stood Richard Hale, dry and impeccable in a charcoal suit. No entourage, just a paper bag from a bakery Alex recognized as the upscale spot downtown. 2 Americanos, black, Hale said to the air, eyes on the menu board as if it held stock tips. Alex poured without a word, the machine's hiss filling the silence. When he slid the cups over, Hale met his gaze. And, a peace offering. He pushed the bag forward. Fresh croissants, the kind flaky and buttery, Liam's favorite if the tabloids were to be believed. For the other night. He wouldn't stop talking about the hot chocolate. Alex arched a brow, ringing him up. $5. And tell Liam the secret's extra marshmallows. Hale paid with a crisp bill, no card flourish, and lingered, the line behind him shifting impatiently. Look, I overreacted. The drawing. It's not about that. Work's been hell, merger closing, and I. He trailed off, jaw tightening. Alex leaned in, voice low. Kids don't care about mergers, Mr. Hale. They care about dads who see them. Richard's laugh was rueful this time. Fair. Call me Richard. The admission hung, casual but loaded, like handing over a key to uncharted rooms. He left with a nod, but the seed was planted. Conversations and stolen moments. Hale becoming a fixture at the counter. His orders a thin excuse for questions that probe deeper. Alex's journey from New York foster homes to Seattle's indie scene. The tattoo on his wrist. A tiny coffee cup inked on his 21st birthday. Symbol of reclaimed ground. Liam tagged along one crisp autumn afternoon. Backpack swapped for a sketchpad. His shyness thawing under Alex's easy banter. "Draw me something," Alex challenged, wiping down the espresso bar. The boy grinned, pencils flying. Alex as a superhero, cape made of steam clouds, fighting shadowy figures labeled fear. Richard watched from a corner table, laptop open but ignored, his expression a war of pride and wonder. "You're good with him," he admitted later, as Liam napped on the couch in the back. "Better than me, some days." Alex shrugged, restocking sugars. "Nah, you're trying. That's half the battle." But the air thickened, charged with unspoken currents. Richard's lingering glances, the way his hand brushed Alex's when passing change, accidental but electric. Alex chalked it up to gratitude, but nights alone in his Capitol Hill walk-up, he replayed the touches, the deep timbre of Richard's voice unmasked, and wondered if the Billionaire's fortress had a hidden door. The first real fracture came at the shop's open mic night, Brewhaven's monthly ritual where poets spilled souls over folkstrums. Alex had signed up on a whim, his piece a raw verse about coming out in a house of silence, words he'd buried until Liam's drawing unearthed them. The crowd was sparse but warm, fairy lights twinkling like hesitant stars. Richard arrived late, Liam in tow, claiming a front table with a sheepish smile. "Heard this was the spot," he said, as if it were coincidence. When Alex took the mic, voice steady over the guitar's hush, the room leaned in. "I was 17 when I said it aloud, and the walls didn't fall. They just got colder." Lines flowed, metaphors of cracked mugs mended with gold. Love is the brew that bitters before it warms. Applause erupted, but Richard's was thunderous, his eyes shining with something fierce, unguarded. Back at the counter, closing up, he waited. "That was you. Real." Alex busied himself with lids, heat rising. "Just words, Richard. Helps to say them." "No," Richard pressed, closer now, the empty shop a cocoon. "It helps to hear them. Liam's been drawing more. Flags, families, 2 dads, even." The confession cracked open, vulnerability raw. Alex's pulse raced. "And you? What do you see?" Richard's hand found the counter, inches from Alex's. "More than I did. You're making me see." The kiss, if it could be called that, was a graze, Richard leaning in as if pulled by gravity, lips brushing Alex's temple in a moment of suspended breath. Then reality crashed. Liam's voice from the bathroom. "Dad?" Richard jerked back, face ashen, pride's armor slamming down. "I should go." He fled into the night, leaving Alex adrift in the echo of almosts, the line between helper and heartline blurred forever. Weeks stretched taut as violin strings, Richard's visits sporadic, his eyes avoiding the warmth they'd once sought. Alex buried the ache in double shifts, mentoring Liam via texts, art tips, encouragement laced with caution. The boy sent photos, evolving sketches, rainbows weaving into cityscapes, a subtle Alex figure in the margins. But the silence from Richard gnawed, a prejudice Alex hadn't named, the man's own, against the pull he felt, against the son he feared losing to truths he couldn't face. Then the call came at 2 a.m., shattering sleep. Liam's school, a fight, bullies, slurs, a bloody nose from fag art. Richard's voice cracked over the line, directed to Alex by a nurse who knew the story. "He's asking for you." "Not me." Alex arrived at the ER in record time. Rain slicked again, finding Liam curled on a gurney, sketchpad clutched like a Bible. "They said I'm broken." The boy sobbed into Alex's shoulder. "Like Dad thinks." Richard hovered in the hall, suit rumpled, eyes hollowed by vigil. When Alex emerged, he didn't accuse, just handed over a coffee, black. "You got here fast." Alex nodded, exhaustion etching lines. "He's not broken. None of us are." The words bridged the chasm, and in the fluorescent hum, Richard whispered, "I know. God, I know. But I'm terrified. Of him being like you. Brave. Open. And me. Stuck." The admission was a dam breaking, Richard's hand trembling as it found Alex's. No kiss this time, just grip, anchoring, honest. Then unstuck yourself, Alex urged. For him. For you. They sat vigil together, dawn creeping over the bay, the first threads of alliance weaving through the fear. But alliances fracture under weight, and Richard's world conspired to test theirs. The merger closed with fanfare. A gala at the Space Needle, champagne toasts to empires expanded. Richard invited Alex as Liam's friend, a hedge against exposure, but the night hummed with undercurrents. In a sea of tuxedos and whispers, Alex stood out in borrowed slacks, his quiet charisma drawing glances, admiring from allies, icy from foes. Liam, scrubbed and beaming in a mini-suit, clung to Alex's side, oblivious to the stares. "You're my +1 too," he declared, and Richard's smile faltered, pride warring with possession. Midway through speeches, a colleague sidled up, voice oily. "Hail, who's the arm candy? Charity case." Richard's fist clenched, but Alex diffused with a quip. "Just the guy who makes your lattes less bitter." Laughter rippled, but the seed of doubt took root. Later, on the balcony overlooking the lit skyline, Richard cornered him. "They're talking. About us." "Liam." Alex's jaw set. "Let them. Or don't." "But hiding? That's the real poison." Richard's eyes stormed. "You think it's easy? My board, investors, they'd crucify me. And Liam, if they turn on him because of..." The unfinished sentence was a slap, prejudice bared. Alex stepped back, hurt flashing. "Because of what? Me? Love." The gala dissolved into a blur, Richard retreating to damage control, Alex ushering Liam home in an Uber, the boys' chatter a shield against the sting. Days followed of radio silence, then a desperate voicemail. "Alex, wait." I panicked. "Meet me." At the shop, Richard arrived disheveled. "Galatai ask you." I ended it. "The colleague fired him this morning. For the slur." Alex blinked, walls cracking. "Why?" "Because you were right. Pride's a chain." Richard's hand cupped Alex's cheek, tentative, then sure. The kiss was full now, slow and searching, tasting of regret and revelation under the shop's soft lights. Liam, peeking from the back, grinned. Finally. But joy's fragile, and Seattle's shadows lengthened with winter's bite. Whispers grew to rumors, tabloids sniffing Richard's soft spot for the barista, investors balking at the distraction. Liam's school called again. More taunts, a drawing torn and trampled. In the principal's office, Richard faced the music, Alex at his side. "My son's art is his voice," he declared, voice booming. "And we'll amplify it, not silence it." The stand made headlines. Richard's coming out adjacent op-ed in the Times. From boardrooms to rainbows. A father's reckoning. Backlash roared. Stocks dipped. Protests at Hale Tower. But support surged too. Allies emerging from closets long locked. Alex, thrust into the spotlight, fielded interviews with grace, his story of foster resilience a counterpoint to Richard's privilege. Yet the deepest twist lurked in Richard's past, unearthed one snow-dusted evening at Alex's apartment, mulled wine steaming on the sill. Liam asleep on the couch, sketchpad open to a family portrait. 3 figures, intertwined. "There's more," Richard confessed, photo trembling in his hand. A faded Polaroid from college. Him and a roommate. Arms slung casual, but eyes intimate. "I loved him. Buried it when Dad cut me off. Built this life on denial." Alex's heart ached, not with pity, but recognition. Then build new. With us. The embrace was fierce, tears salting skin, love's alchemy turning pain to purpose. Spring thawed the city, and with it, trials. A custody scare, ex-wife, long estranged, surfacing with claims of instability, wielding the outing like a weapon. Courtrooms echoed with testimonies. Alex's steady presence, Liam's drawings as exhibits of joy. Richard, stripped bare, testified. "I was terrified of losing him, of being him. But Alex taught me terror's no match for truth." The judge ruled in their favor, but victory tasted bittersweet when Richard collapsed post-verdict, stress fracturing to panic attack in the courthouse hall. Alex held him through it, breath sinking in the sterile light. "You're enough," he murmured. Broken parts and all. Summer bloomed defiant, pride flags waving from Brewhaven's eaves. The shop hosted a fundraiser, Art for Queer Youth, Liam's pieces front and center. Richard spoke, voice steady. Pride isn't a month. It's a choice daily. Alex watched, love swelling, as father and son shared the mic, the crowd a tapestry of stories like theirs. But the ultimate break came unbidden, a letter from Richard's father, the Texas patriarch, postmarked with regret, saw the news. Wish I'd seen you sooner. Reconciliation brewed slow, over calls and visits, walls crumbling brick by generational brick. In the end, as fireworks lit the sound on Independence Day, Alex and Richard stood on the penthouse balcony, Liam between, hand in hand. What happens next? Liam asked, eyes on the bursts. Alex squeezed Richard's fingers. Us. Braver. The father's pride, once a shield, now a banner, unfurled, unbreakable. The balcony air hummed with possibility, the fireworks' echoes fading into the lap of waves against the pier below. Richard turned to Alex, his profile sharp against the city's glow, the man who'd once stormed in like a tempest now softened by surrender. You know, I never imagined this, he said, voice low, threaded with wonder. A barista dismantling my empire of one. Alex chuckled, the sound warm against the chill breeze off the water. Empires fall fast when built on sand. Yours was due for a rebuild. Liam, nestled between them, yawned dramatically, his small frame heavy with the day's excitement. The parade floats, the cheers, the confetti that still dusted his curls. Can we get ice cream tomorrow? With rainbows on top. Richard ruffled his hair. Anything, kiddo. Sprinkles too. As they herded inside, the penthouse enveloping them in its sleek embrace, glass walls framing stars, minimalist art whispering wealth. Alex felt the pull of normalcy amid the extraordinary. It had been months since the courtroom victory, but normalcy was a luxury they'd bartered for with every headline, every hushed investor call. Richard had stepped back from the CEO throne, handing reins to a trusted COO, his days now split between board oversight and something revolutionary, presence. Mornings began at Brew Haven, Richard's Americano a ritual anchor. He'd linger post-rush, laptop banished, engaging Alex in debates over bean origins or Seattle's queer history, the Stonewall ripples that reached even this rainy corner. You ever think about expanding? Richard asked one drizzly dawn, as Alex frothed milk for the opening pour. A chain? Your vibe could go national. Alex shot him a sidelong glance, steam curling between them. Chains break spirits. This place. It's a heartbeat. One shop, real connections. Richard nodded, admiration flickering. Spoken like a man who's fought for his. The words carried weight, a nod to Alex's scars, the Foster shuffles, the disownment that propelled him west at 20, backpack light, but heart heavier. Liam's integration wove deeper threads. School had shifted to a progressive charter, where art classes celebrated rather than censored, his drawings now mural-sized on hallway walls. But shadows lingered, the occasional glare from a parent, the whisper networks that branded the Hales as that family. One afternoon, as Alex picked him up, Richard tied in a deposition. Liam slid into the passenger seat, unusually quiet. Tommy said his dad lost his job because of us. Blames the gay stuff. Alex's grip tightened on the wheel, navigating the hilly streets toward home. People lash out when change scares them, but doesn't make it true. Liam fiddled with his seatbelt, eyes down. But what if Dad goes back to before? The question pierced, a child's radar for adult tremors. Alex pulled over at a viewpoint, the sound sprawling like a promise. Your dad's changed because he chose to. And choices? We remake them every day. That evening, over takeout foes steaming on the coffee table, they confronted it head-on. Richard listened, face grave, then pulled Liam into a hug. No going back, champ. Forward only, even if it's bumpy. Alex watched, the tableau a quiet victory, love's glue mending fractures. Yet bumps escalated to cliffs when Richard's father, Harlan Hale, announced a visit. The elder Hale, a oil baron turned philanthropist with a Bible Belt core, booked a suite at the Four Seasons, his itinerary crisp, family reconciliation tour. Richard paced the penthouse, tie loosened, vulnerability etching lines around his eyes. He wrote that letter after the op-ed, but seeing us. It could undo everything. Alex, folding laundry in the guest room, his de facto space now, Toothbrush migrated to the master bath, set down the shirt. Or remake it. You're his son, Richard. Show him the man you've become. Liam, eavesdropping from the hall, piped up, Grandpa likes my drawings. Sent crayons once. The innocence disarmed, and Richard exhaled. All right, game face. Harlan arrived like a dust storm. Tall, weathered, Stetson traded for a fedora, but the drawl unchanged. Dinner at a waterfront steakhouse was cordial frost, talk of stocks, weather, skirting the elephants. But over coffee, black, no sugar, Harlan's gaze fixed on Alex. So, you're the influence. Not accusatory, but probing, a Texan's code. Alex met it square. Just a guy who believes in second acts, sir. Harlan grunted, sipping. Heard about your piece at that poetry night. Had bite. Richard tensed, but Harlan pressed on. Reminded me of a boy I knew once. College. Wrote verses too. We drifted. The table stilled, the unspoken abridge extended. Richard's fork paused. Drifted how, Dad? Harlan's eyes shadowed. Like fools do. I chose the ranch, the expectations. He chose the road. Never forgave myself. The confession cascaded, Harlan's hand covering Richard's, a gesture freighted with decades. Seeing you fight for this boy, for truth. It's what I should have done. Tears brimmed, unashamed, and Liam, wide-eyed, slid his sketchpad over. Want to see my rainbow city, Grandpa? The night thawed into dawn walks along the market. Harlan's laughter booming at fishmonger's banter, his questions gentle probes into Alex's world. Departure brought a gruff embrace. Take care of my boys. Richard, lighter, whispered to Alex later, bodies entwined under sheets. You did that? Cracked the old man's shell. But reconciliation's glow dimmed under fresh storm clouds. A rival firm, sensing weakness, launched a smear, leaked emails twisting Richard's op-ed into distraction from duties, stocks tumbling anew. Protests reignited outside Hale Tower, signs mingling protect family values with uglier slurs. Liam, overhearing cable news, retreated to his room, doors barred. Alex found him there, curled with pillows, tears silent. It's my fault, the boy choked. If I hadn't drawn. Alex gathered him close, rocking gently. Fault's a lie, Liam. It's their fear talking. Yours was courage. They sketched together, storm clouds parting to suns, until Richard knocked, face ashen. Boards calling an emergency vote. Ouster push. The penthouse became war room. Calls to allies, strategy sessions over cold pizza. Alex, outsider no more, offered perspective. Lean in. Host a town hall. Show them the heart behind the headlines. Richard hesitated, pride's ghost flickering. They'll eat me alive. Alex cupped his face. We've faced worse. Together. The town hall packed the auditorium, media buzzing like hornets. Richard took the stage, Alex and Liam in the wings, the billionaire's voice steady. I've built empires, but none matter without this. He gestured to his family, projected slides of Liam's art blooming behind. Questions flew, hostile, probing, but answers flowed honest. Vulnerabilities aired, commitments vowed. I'm not perfect, but I'm present. For them. For us all. Applause built slow, then swelled, a tide turning. Stocks stabilized by morn, rivals retreating. But the night's toll lingered. Richard, drained, sought solace in Alex's arms on the drive home. I almost lost it all again. Alex kissed his temple. You didn't. We didn't. Autumn leaves turned gold as challenges morphed to milestones. Liam's first art show, a youth queer exhibit at the Fry, drew crowds, his pieces selling to tearful buyers. Richard beamed from the sidelines, whispering to Alex, our little Picasso. The barista's own dreams stirred. He enrolled in night classes, graphic design to amplify voices like Liam's. Yet undercurrents stirred. Richard's ex, Vanessa, filed for increased custody, citing unstable environment post-smear. Mediation rooms chilled with legalese, her lawyer's barbs sharp. Mr. Hale's lifestyle changes endanger the child. Alex testified remotely, voice unwavering. Stability's love, not labels. Liam thrives in it. Vanessa, eyes softening over breaks, confessed privately. I left to escape the cage you built, Richard. But the boy's happier now. Rulings favored joint, but with therapy mandates, family sessions peeling layers. In one, Harlan joined via video, his gravel voice bridging gaps. We hails bottle it up. Time to pour out. Tears flowed, bonds reforged. Winter's hush brought introspection. Holiday lights twinkled as they decorated a tree, mismatched ornaments from thrift shops, Liam's handmade stars. Richard proposed over eggnog. Rings simple silver. Marry me? Build this forever. Alex, heart full, yes on his lips, but a shadow crossed. Your world. It swallows people. Richard knelt, earnest. Then we'll swim against. You, me, him. The yes came, sealed with a kiss under mistletoe, Liam cheering. But forever's tested in tempests. New Year's Eve, a gala invite. Industry reconciliation. Richard urged Alex attend as fiancé, but hesitation loomed. Old colleague stares, veiled digs. I'm ready if you are, Alex said. The night unfolded glamorous, toasts clinking, but midway, a drunk exec cornered Richard. Slumming it with the help? Boards laughing. Fury flashed. Richard's retort boomed. That's my family you're mocking. Chaos erupted, shoves, security, but Alex pulled him away, into a coat room hush. Pride or love? He challenged softly. Richard deflated. Love. Always. They left early, reclaiming the night with street tacos, laughter healing the bruise. Spring's renewal mirrored their arc, wedding plans wove whimsy. Vows at Brew Haven, reception on a ferry cruise. Invites went broad. Harlan, Vanessa, queer allies. A tapestry of forgiveness. But a curveball. Liam's confession over brunch, voice tiny. I think I like boys. Like you too. Richard's fork stilled. Then he smiled, pulling him close. Then we'll love you louder. The ceremony dawned clear, Puget Sound sparkling. Alex in linen, Richard in tailored gray, Liam ring-bearer with a grin wider than the horizon. Vows exchanged amid steam and cheers. In rain or roast, I choose you. Rings slid, kisses sealed, the crowd a roar of acceptance. Yet stories twist, even in bliss. Post-honeymoon, a quiet cabin retreat. Richard uncovered old letters in the attic. From that college love, pleas unanswered, pain preserved. I was a coward, he admitted fireside, Alex listening. Forgive. Alex traced his jaw. Already did. Now write the ending right. Years unfurled like sketch pages. Liam bloomed artist. Gallery shows echoing his start. Brew Haven expanded. Not chain, but sister shop, queer youth hub. Richard mentored startups for inclusivity, boardrooms bending to new norms. Alex designed campaigns, his art fueling change. Reflections came on anniversaries, balcony toasts to that stormy night. You broke me open, Richard murmured. Alex smiled. You let me. Liam, now teen tall, rolled eyes, gross. But cute. Laughter bound them, pride no longer broken, but built anew, unbreakable. Summer's heat wave baked Seattle into a reluctant simmer, the usual drizzle a memory as Alex and Richard navigated the uncharted waters of newlywed life. The penthouse, once a sterile showcase, now pulsed with chaos. Liam's art supplies colonizing the kitchen island, Alex's design sketches pinned to fridge doors like captured dreams. Mornings were a symphony of clatter, Richard fumbling eggs while Alex measured grounds for the French press, Liam sketching comics at the bar. But beneath the domestic hum, fissures whispered. Richard's semi-retirement chafed, emails pinged incessantly from the COO, just consults, that stretched into late nights. Alex noticed the shadows under his eyes, the way laughter came forced after board calls. You're slipping back, he said one evening, as they washed dishes side by side, suds bubbling like unspoken grievances. Richard dried a plate, avoiding the sink's reflection. It's habit. Can't just quit cold. Liam, homework spread on the rug, piped up without looking. Like when I stopped drawing scared stuff. Cold turkey. The simplicity stung, and Richard sighed, pulling Alex close, water dripping forgotten. You're right. Both of you. But habits die hard, and the pull of power lingered like a siren's call. The first real strain surfaced at a family barbecue. Harlan in town. Vanessa too, tentative truce, in full swing. The backyard of the Hale estate on Lake Washington buzzed with cousins, grills smoking ribs, laughter mingling with lake laps. Liam splashed with relatives, his confidence abloom, but whispers reached Alex from aunts. Richard's gone soft. Marrying down. He brushed it off, but Richard overheard, jaw clenching over beers with Harlan. Later, by the dock, Harlan clapped his shoulder. Their yapping caused they envy. You got what I chased too late. Heart over hustle. Richard nodded, but doubt seated. That night, driving home, he broached it. Ever feel out of place in my world? Alex glanced over, city lights streaking. Your world's ours now. But if it pulls you away. The sentence hung, a gentle warning. Fall brought focus. Liam's school play, a queer retelling of Midsummer, casting him as Puck, mischief with message. Rehearsals consumed evenings. Alex directing props, Richard funding sets. Opening night packed the auditorium, nerves electric. Liam nailed his lines. Lord, what fools these mortals be. A meta-wink that drew cheers. Backstage, roses in hand, Richard hugged him fierce. Proud doesn't cover it. But pride's shadow loomed larger. A profile in Wired hailed Richard's pivot to purpose, but comments festered. PR stunt for the hubby. Investors grumbled in private jets, one pulling funding for a youth initiative. Too woke, the email read. Richard slammed his laptop, storming to the balcony. Alex followed, wine glasses in hand. They're testing. Don't let them win. I know, Richard growled, gripping the rail. But it's Liam. They'll target him next. Alex set the glasses down, hands on his shoulders. Then we shield smarter. Public pushback. The plan hatched, a podcast series, Richard interviewing queer trailblazers, Alex producing. Episodes dropped like stones in still water, ripples of support drowning the hate. Winter holidays amplified joys and jangles. Harlan hosted Thanksgiving in Austin, a sprawling ranch affair where Alex learned roping, badly, and Liam bonded over horse sketches. Vanessa joined, her new partner, a soft-spoken teacher, easing tensions. But New Year's, a blizzard trapped them in the penthouse, power flickering. Candles glowed as they played charades, Liam's impressions cracking them up. In the quiet after, Richard traced Alex's tattoo. This life, it's the merger that matters. Spring's thaw unearthed buried roots. Cleaning the attic for a yard sale, downsizing excess, Liam unearthed a box, Richard's college relics. Amid yearbooks, a journal tumbled out, pages yellowed. Richard snatched it, but too late. Alex glimpsed scrawled entries. J. His laugh undoes me. But father says. Heart aching, he waited till Liam slept. That boy from the photo? Richard nodded, journal open like a wound. James. We were fire, poetry slams, all-nighters. Then graduation, ultimatum. I chose legacy. Tears traced his cheeks. Wrote him once, years later. Bounced. Alex pulled him close. Write again. Closure's a gift. The letter sent, address hunted via alumni nets, arrived back. Deceased. Cancer, 2018. The grief crashed. Richard unmoored. Nights pacing. Alex anchored. Therapy sessions joint. Unpacking closet's debris. Liam drew through it. Comics of ghosts finding peace. Harlan called, voice thick, heard. Wish I'd known him. Healing wove slow, but stronger. Summer swelled with opportunity. Brewhaven's sister shop opened, a vibrant space in Capitol Hill, walls murals by Liam's class. Grand opening drew crowds. Richard emceeing with charm. But a heckler shouted slurs, mic'd for all. Security escorted, but the clip viralized, trolls swarming. Richard raged privately. They won't stop. Alex, calm amid the storm, countered with a live stream. Hate shouts loud, but love builds quiet. Join us. Donations poured, the shop a beacon. Fall's harvest brought harvest of self. Liam, 13 now, navigated first crush, a classmate, shy notes exchanged. How'd you know, Dad? He asked Richard over dinner. The man paused, then shared. Felt it young. Hid too long. Don't. The talk flowed open, Alex adding. Hearts don't lie. Listen. Winter wrapped them in warmth. Anniversary trip to New York, Alex's roots, toured foster haunts, turned community centers. Richard volunteered, sleeves rolled, serving soup. This is power, he marveled. Back home, proposals for a foundation, Hail Rivera Youth Arts, seed funded personally. But tempests brew eternal. A board coup loomed, old guard plotting Richard's full oust. Leaks to press, personal life derails duty. Allies wavered, Harlan flying in for war council. Fight dirty if need, he growled. But Alex urged clean, resign on your terms. Legacies now. The press conference stunned. Richard stepping down, foundation full-time. I've chased numbers. Now impact. Cheers drowned boos, stocks oddly rose, visionary pivot. Spring bloomed triumphant. Wedding vow renewals at the lake, intimate, family, friends. Liam officiated, boyish solemn. You may kiss the grooms. Laughter, tears, forever reaffirmed. Yet twists linger. Liam's art scholarship to Paris, summer abroad at 15. Pride swelled, but separation loomed. We'll visit, Richard promised airport hugs. Letters flew, sketches of Eiffel rainbows. Years layered like lattes. Liam thrived, gallery in Brooklyn. Richard's foundation global, Alex designing exhibits. Reflections on balconies. That terrified kid led here. Alex smiled. And the barista who caught him. Life's canvas, ever unfolding, colors bold, lines unbroken. The Paris summer stretched long and luminous for Liam, his sketchbook filling with cobblestone confessions and Saint-Side sonnets. But the transatlantic calls home carried a homesick undercurrent that tugged at Alex and Richard like an unseen tide. Back in Seattle, the penthouse echoed emptier, the kitchen island cleared of crayons, the balcony conversations turning introspective under star-pricked skies. He's growing too fast, Richard murmured one night, wine glass cradled. The cities hum a distant lullaby. Alex leaned into him, head on shoulder. That's the point. We raised a bird, not a cage. But empty nests stir stirrings, and Richard's foundation demanded travel. Panels in Berlin, grants in Tokyo, his absences stretching from days to weeks. Alex held the fort, Brewhaven's empire now 3 shops strong, each a haven pulsing with workshops and whispers of resilience. Yet solitude crept in, design deadlines blurring with lonely dinners, the bed vast without Richard's warmth. Texts bridged gaps, miss your laugh, but miles mocked intimacy. Fall's return heralded Liam's homecoming, bags bulging with berets and baguettes, stories spilling over airport espresso. Paris is art everywhere, but you too. You're home. The reunion barbecue, Harlan grilling, Vanessa's partner flipping burgers, buzzed with updates. Liam's internship at MoMA, Richard's TED Talk brewing. But under the laughter, Alex caught Richard's glance lingering, a question unspoken. Winter's grip tightened with opportunity. The Foundation's gala, black tie beacon for donors, loomed, theme, unveiled truths. Alex, roped into co-chair, poured creativity. Installations of shadowed closets cracking open, Liam's murals as centerpieces. Rehearsals late, Richard's input sharp, their synergy electric. You're brilliant, Richard whispered post-run-through, cornering Alex in the venue's dim hall. Kiss hungry. We make magic. Gala night glittered, chandeliers dripping light over gowns and tuxes, speeches soaring. Richard took the stage, voice resonant. Truth isn't given, it's claimed, often in the dark. Applause thundered, but a donor's aside to Alex. Charming prop, pricked like a thorn. He brushed it, but Richard overheard later, fury flashing in the limo. They see you as accessory. Alex squeezed his hand. Or threat. To their status quo. The slight festered, Richard withdrawing into work, calls at dawn, flights unannounced. Alex confronted over breakfast, steam rising like tempers. You're running again. From what? Richard's fork clattered. From failing you. Us. If I'm not enough. Alex stood, chair scraping. You're enough when present. Not perfect. The rift widened, silences stretching. Liam, sensing, mediated with sketches. A comic of superheroes mending capes. Talk it out, dads. Heart to heart in the living room. Candles flickering, confessions poured. Richard's fear of obsolescence. Alex's ache for partnership beyond patronage. We're equals, Alex insisted. Billed as such. Richard nodded. Vow renewed. Date nights. No phones. Spring's renewal tested resolve. A foundation crisis, scandal in a partner org, embezzlement whispers, demanded Richard's all. He dove in, but looped Alex. Joint strategy, press releases co-drafted. Resolution came swift, reputation intact, but exhaustion etched deep. Getaway planned. Coastal cabin, no signals. Waves crashed as they walked beaches, hand in hand, salt air scouring souls. Remember the storm? Richard asked, shells crunching. Alex grinned. How could I forget? You were all thunder. Laughter healed, nights tangled reaffirming. Summer sweltered with Liam's launch, debut exhibit in Soho, Rainbow Routes. Travel East, the trio a unit, Richard networking donors, Alex curating layout, Liam beaming amid critics' praise. Opening night, champagne fizzed, sales soared. A collector pulled Richard aside. Your boy's a visionary. Like his husband's. The word, husbands, landed soft, affirming. But affirmation's foil is doubt. Back west, an old flame resurfaced. James's brother, emailing condolences turned curiosity. Heard your story. Coffee. Richard deleted, but ghosted guilt lingered. Confession over dinner. Just closure echo. Alex's eyes searched. Or temptation? Trust teetered. Therapy revisited. Couple sessions unpacking fidelity's fears. Fall harvested growth. Liam's college apps loomed. Choices between RISD and UW. Family votes, where heart pulls. He chose Providence, independence calling. Departure loomed bittersweet. Dorm unpacked with tears and toasts. Winter wrapped farewells. Holiday drive east, snow-dusted campuses, Richard's pep talk, fly, but fold home. Alex's gift, custom sketchpad, engraved roots and wings. The empty nest hit hard, penthouse hollow. Richard proposed reinvention, sabbatical, world tour, arts hubs, quiet corners. Alex agreed, passport stamped. First stop, Tokyo, cherry blossoms brief but brilliant, temples whispering peace. Yet journey's inward rival outward. In Kyoto's gardens, Richard journaled, You saved me twice. Then now. Alex read later, heart full. We save each other. Return brought reinvigorated routines. Foundation evolved. Global residencies for queer artists. Alex leading design. Liam's visits peppered, stories of crushes and critiques. Spring cycle turned full. Anniversary hike, Olympic peaks piercing clouds. Vows whispered on summits, through every season. Below, Seattle sprawled, a city changed like them. Twists, though our life sink. Liam's call mid-semester. Met someone. Serious. Pride swelled, visits planned. Richard's health scare, a routine check flagging stress markers, prompted slowdown, yoga joined, balance pursuit. Summer's heat mirrored inner fire. Liam's partner, Eli, soft-spoken sculptor, joined barbecues, family expanding. Harlan approved. Good kid. Like you were. Fall's colors deepen bonds. Exhibit collab. Liam and Alex, father-son duo show. Richard curated, gala host. Winter's hush, gifted reflection. Balcony, mulled cider steaming. Richard mused, from terror to this. Alex clinked glasses. And beyond. Canvas endless, strokes bold. Love's masterpiece, ever evolving. The Olympic hike's afterglow lingered like mist in the valleys. Alex and Richard descending the trail with legs weary but spirits buoyant. The summit vows a talisman against the autumn chill nipping at their heels. Seattle welcomed them back with a riot of amber leaves carpeting the waterfront. The market stalls heaped with pumpkins that mirrored the warmth blooming in their home. Liam's dorm visits had become monthly rituals. Amtrak rides north, laden with care packages of Seattle roasted beans and sketchpads, but his voice on calls carried a new timbre, threaded with the uncertainties of young love and freshman freedoms. Eli, the sculptor, proved a steady presence, his visits unfolding like clay under gentle hands. First awkward dinners where he fidgeted with forks, then easy afternoons in the penthouse studio, tools scattering as Liam's energy sparked his quiet focus. Richard observed with a father's discerning eye, probing over post-dinner chess. What drives you, son? Eli's answer, simple, sincere, formed from chaos, like your boy does with lines, earned a nod, the board yielding to alliance. But alliances, even familial, weather gales. The foundation's expansion hit turbulence. A European partner withdrew funding over cultural sensitivities, citing Liam's exhibit themes as too provocative for conservative donors. Richard's response was measured fury, a press release co-authored with Alex framing it, as a stand for unapologetic art. Backlash brewed, cancellations, boycotts, but a silver lining emerged. Grassroots surges, small creators pledging what they could, turning loss to legion. Alex, ever the alchemist, channeled it into a podcast pivot. Unbroken lines, interviews with artists who'd shattered ceilings. First guest, Eli, his vulnerability raw over mics, stories of rural rejection, sculpture as salvation. Download spiked, the series a bridge from niche to national. Winter's solstice brought convergence. Harlan's Ranch for Christmas, a white-knuckle flight south through blizzards, landing in Austin's embrace. The sprawling table groaned under turkey and tamales. Vanessa's contribution, her laughter freer now, partner at her side. Gifts exchanged, Liam's carved ornaments for the tree, Alex's digital portrait of Harlan on horseback, digitized for posterity. Evenings by the fire, stories swapped. Richard's college ghosts laid gentler now. Harlan's regrets, a shared ledger. But Yuletide cheer cracked under a midnight call. Foundation leak. Internal memo twisted by media into nepotism claims. Alex's role inflated to favoritism. Richard, bleary-eyed, fielded journalists at dawn, voice steel. My husband's talent speaks louder than whispers. The storm passed, but residue stuck. Bored whispers of audits, trust frayed. Spring's equinox demanded reckoning. Therapy intensified, not just couples, but family. Zoom with Liam, dissecting dynamics. We lean on each other, the counselor urged, not against. Exercises followed, gratitude journals, shared vulnerabilities voiced over video. Liam's entry, Dad's fights scare me less now, cause you fix them. Eli's integration deepened the weave. Summer internship at the foundation, his installations dotting youth centers, abstract forms evoking emergence. A joint project with Liam, public sculpture in Capitol Hill, entwined. Two figures rising from stone, rainbows etched in veins. Unveiling drew crowds. Richard's ribbon-cut speech. Love's the chisel. Truth, the spark. Yet chisels slip. Richard's sabbatical dreams deferred by crisis. A partner org's collapse in Brazil, funds frozen. He jetted south, weeks blurring into monsoon-drenched negotiations. Alex held Seattle, Brew Haven's rhythm a solace, but calls grew terse. Miss you. Come back whole. Richard's return, tanned but taut, sparked reconnection. Nights reclaiming space, bodies mapping familiar terrains. Fall's harvest moon lit a milestone. Liam's 21st, bash at the lake house. Guests mingled, college mates, Eli's kin, a tapestry of toasts. Richard pulled Alex aside mid-dance. He's ours, but flying. Alex's arm tightened. And we're grounded. Together. Winter-wrapped expansions. Unbroken lines greenlit for TV. Alex exec producing, Richard guesting. Filming frenzy. Location scouts in LA, scripts infused with heart. Premiere party pulsed, critics lauding raw authenticity. But authenticity invites arrows. A review sniped. Hale's redemption arc, Barista sidekick. Alex laughed it off publicly, but privately seethed, confronting Richard over script revisions. Sidekick? After all, Richard deflated. Their words, not mine. The fight simmered, cooled by apology hikes, trails where words flowed freer. Spring's bloom heralded bold moves. Liam and Eli's engagement, quiet proposal in Providence Park, ring a sculpted band. News hit like confetti, planning whirlwind. Destination wedding in Tuscany, family converging. Richard footed flights, but Alex planned vows. Echoes of us. Summer's Tuscan sun gilded the villa, olive groves whispering as guests arrived. Harlan in linen, Vanessa tearful. Ceremony under arbors, Liam's eyes on Eli. You shaped my chaos. Rings exchanged, dances swirled, Richard toasting. To lines that entwine. Fall back home brought nesting echoes. Grandkids pondered, foundation legacy-eyed. Liam's first solo show in Milan, parents beaming from front row. Winter's quiet gifted gestation. Alex's book Deal, Brewed Truths, memoir of that stormy night, penned in fireside bursts. Richard edited, Liam illustrated covers. Yet life sinks spills unexpected. Eli's diagnosis, benign tumor, surgery swift but scare profound. Family rallied, Seattle visits. Richard's jet ferrying. Alex's care packages of teas and tales. Recovery slow, but bonds ironclad. Spring's renewal. Eli's return to Clay, stronger. Liam's gratitude. You taught us fight. Summer's heat, forge forward. Book launch packed brew haven. Signings spilling to streets. Richard's forward. He brewed more than coffee, courage. Fall's colors crowned completion. Liam's directorial debut. Short film on foster journeys. Alex consulting, Richard funding. Festival buzz, awards whispered. Winter's hush. Balcony, stars witnesses. From child to clan, Richard mused. Alex smiled. Our story, chapters infinite. Ever turning, page by page, love's narrative unbound. Tuscany's after-party echoes faded into jet-lagged hazes as the family scattered back to their constellations. Liam and Eli nesting in a Brooklyn brownstone, its walls already daubed with half-formed visions, while Alex and Richard reclaimed Seattle's rhythm, the penthouse a sanctuary humming with the quiet industry of lives intertwined. The book tour for Brewed Truths launched Alex into spotlights he'd once shunned. Readings in Portland cafes, panels in San Francisco lofts. His voice steady, anecdotes laced with the humor that had disarmed a billionaire years prior. Richard shadowed when he could, pride evident in the way he lingered at signings, stacking books like trophies. But spotlights cast long shadows, and the tour's grind unearthed old fault lines. A Chicago stop, rain-slicked streets mirroring that fateful night, brought a fan's question sharp as shattered glass. How'd it feel, stealing a tycoon's heart? Power play. Laughter rippled awkwardly, but Alex's smile tightened, the mic heavy. Love's no theft, it's invitation. He chose to walk through the door. Applause followed, but the barb lodged, calls home terse. Crowds love drama. We know better. Richard, waiting in the hotel lobby, sensed the pall. Rough one. Over room service steak, Alex unpacked. They romanticize us, fairy tale. But it's work, messy as any. Richard's fork paused. Then let's remind them. The counter, a joint blog post, raw vignettes of arguments aired, reconciliations hard-won. Engagement soared, readers nodding. Real over real. Fall's foliage framed Liam's film premiere at TIFF, Toronto's theaters abuzz. Red carpet, a novel thrill. The short, Foster frames, unspooled tales of shuffled homes. Liam's lens tender yet unflinching. Post-screening Q&A, a critic probed, autobiographical. Liam glanced to Alex in the aisle. Inspired by a dad who found his way home. Tears pricked, Richard's hand finding Alex's in the dark. Winters we've tightened with tidings. Eli's all clear, scans pristine, celebration a low-key feast at the lake house. Fire pit crackling, Esmores sticky with joy. But joy's companion is anticipation. Eli's family planning whispers, adoption explorations, stirred Richard's paternal gears. Grandkids, he mused to Alex over cocoa. Think we'd be meddlesome? Alex chuckled. Obnoxiously so. Spring's surge brought sprouts. Foundation's annual report gleamed. Residencies tripled. Youth grants blooming. Alex's sequel pitched, steeped in us. Couples chronicle, publisher eager. Writing retreats dotted calendars. Richard joining for main cabins. Lobster boils fueling chapters. Yet Spring's flood. A donor revolt. Conservative holdouts decrying agenda push. Froze endowments. Richard's negotiations marathon. Tempers flaring in Zoom marathons. Alex mediated offline. Compromise without capitulation. Resolution. Tiered funding. Inclusivity clauses etched in. Summer's solstice sun baked a family fusion. Brooklyn visit. Brownstone buzzing with Eli's kiln fumes. Liam's script scattered. Barbecue on the roof. Skyline toasts. To branches. Whispers of baby names. Adoption fairs penciled. Fall's harvest reaped recognition. Alex's book shortlisted for Lambda Lit. Ceremony in D.C. glamorous. Richard's suit sharp. Liam video cheering from set. His feature script greenlit. Win night. Acceptance speech. Stories safe. This one's ours. Winter's mantle cloaked contemplation. Holiday cruise. Caribbean calm. Waves lulling reflections. Richard's gift. Custom journal. Leatherbound. For our next chapters. Alex's star map of their wedding night. Constellations we charted. But mantles tear. Eli's relapse scare, false alarm, biopsy benign, but anxiety's echo lingered, therapy webs widening to include them. Sessions virtual, voices syncing, fears familiar. We face it flanked. Spring's palette painted progress. Adoption match, toddler boy, Theo, wide-eyed wonder. Home study passed, court dates circled. Liam's elation, brother time. Summer's heat hatched homecomings. Theo's arrival, airport arms open, chaos of car seats and coups. Penthouse adapted, cribs and guest rooms, nights fragmented but full. Richard, bottle-propping novice, diapers defy deals. Alex, lullaby soft, parenting's the real merger. Falls frolic, park picnics, Theo's first steps wobbling toward Liam's encouraging hands. Eli's exhibit, parenthood-inspired forms, drew acclaim, foundation spotlighting. Winter's wonder, first holidays fourfold. Tree trimming tiny hands, Harlan zooming carols. Book 2 launched, dedications. To the nest, ever nesting. Yet wonders warp. Theo's adjustment tantrums tested, sleep regressions relentless. Richard's travel curtailed, but resentment simmered. Missed the board's vision quest. Alex, midnight rocker, we're here. That's vision. Spring's thaw, family therapy tuned tantrums to talks. Theo's babbles bridging. Liam's feature wrapped, premiere promised. Summer's symphony, beach vacui, sands sifting through Theo's fists, waves whooshing lullabies. Eli's proposal echo, family's the art. Fall's fanfare, film fest, Liam's directorial bow, standing ovations, deals dangling. Alex's forward in program, from sketches to screens. Winter's warmth, Theo's second birthday, cake smeared, laughter loud. Richard's reflection, chaos chosen. Life's loop, ever spiraling, threads tangled, tapestry rich.